Oh, this music lives rent-free in my head. Madison Square Garden is going to be an absolute madhouse tonight as the Knicks host Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavs. After losing to the Pacers in the conference finals last year, the Knicks are still looking for their first finals appearance since 1999, while the Cavs trying to make their first NBA Finals without LeBron James on the roster. The Cavs and Knicks have taken different paths en route to meeting in the Eastern Conference Finals. New York has lost just 2 games this postseason and has a plus 19.4 points per game differential, the best in a 10-game span in NBA playoff history. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Cavs have gone to Game 7 in each series they've played in the postseason. So the question is, who needs to show up tonight at the Garden in order for this to be a Game 1 for the ages? Stephen A.?
Well, it's 2 people that come to my mind. I know I'm supposed to give 1, but I'm going to give 2 only because 1 is involving injury. I need to see OG Anunoby healthy. After being out with the, in the Sixers series with the hamstring injury and whatever the last few games, I want to see him back healthy. The fact that he's gotten this rest, that they got this break because they swept the Sixers and Cleveland and Detroit win 7 games, I think it's incredibly important that this guy is in the flow. Remember, he was shooting better than 60% from the field and better than 50% from three-point range, averaging over 20 when he went down in the playoffs. So we have to understand his importance. Strictly in regards to their performance, more so than anything else, I'm going to say the name Mikal Bridges again. I'm going to say again, yes, Wilbon, you're absolutely right. It ain't his fault that all them damn draft picks were given up for him. It ain't his fault. I got it. But damn it, they were given up. Okay, and this is the Knicks. This is the Knicks situation, and it's gonna stay this way for the foreseeable future because they gave up all of these assets. He has to justify it, and he doesn't have to do anything more than he's been doing over the last few games in these playoffs since they blew out Atlanta by 50 in the first half of the closeout Game 6. So he's been flowing ever since. Keep that up is all I'm trying to say. Mikal Bridges has to be that guy because we know Donovan Mitchell might get loose. Who knows what James Harden's going to do? Who knows what Allen and Mobley are going to do? But I'm going to say the name that comes to my mind is Mikal Bridges. If OG Anunoby is healthy and Mikal Bridges is balling, the New York Knicks are easily going to win this series.
I'll give you 1 from each team. I'm going to say for the New York Knicks, that has to be Karl-Anthony Towns. Last series, we seen him basically play with a handicap when we're talking about Joel Embiid. You got the sag off him on defense, therefore it helped you out defensively when you seen screens coming, people cutting through, etc., because he was hobbled on defense. Not just that, offensively, when they were, we'll call him point center cat, had the ball in his hands. When he got the drive, defense also collapsed on him. So you were able to find open shots from Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and where the Knicks just shot lights out, 57% from three-point land. And that was the key to that. You're a bit handicapped because of Joel Embiid. Are you going to do that against Evan Mobley? We'll see that. And on the other side of the ball, I'll say, has to be Jared Allen. He had 2 great, sensational Game 7s in this playoff so far. But I remember him a couple years ago, and your guy Wendy actually brought it up, how he got smoked by Mitchell Robinson. And he said the lights were too bright for him. And that was 3 years ago. The lights are going to be brighter than 3 years ago. And you've been playing exceptionally well this series. You're going to have to step up this year for the Cleveland Cavaliers to have a chance.
I don't disagree with any of those. Those are key people. And more than one person has to show up big in any playoff game, particularly a conference finals playoff game. I'll stick with Cleveland for a second. And it's going to be Donovan Mitchell. I mean, look, Donovan Mitchell's capable of 50-point games in the playoffs. We know that. He doesn't have to have that tonight. I'm not suggesting he needs to be some great soloist. But here's what it does if Donovan Mitchell is assertive and productive early. It takes a lot of the pressure off James Harden. Stephen A., you and I particularly have spent a lot of years chronicling and having to be critical in the playoffs, particularly as mid-May turns to late May, of James Harden and what he hasn't done. But what James Harden can do, particularly if Donovan Mitchell's taking the pressure off him scoring, James Harden can just go to facilitation mode. He can do that and have 10, 11, 12 assists and be incredibly effective. This is not a situation where James Harden has to be what he was in Houston and has to come out and have a 35-point, 15 assist game. No, he doesn't need to do that. But in order to sort of settle into that role, you need Donovan Mitchell scoring a lot in this game. And it also, Mobley and Allen can then follow suit. Somebody's got to set the tone for Cleveland. Mobley and Allen, you can't have any 3.2 assist, 2 rebound games out of them. They need bigger games. And we saw that late in the Toronto series. We saw it late in the Detroit series. They can't wait till late. Otherwise, there won't be a late in the Knicks series if they don't get started, and preferably tonight.
I'll say this about Harden. Harden, 29-6 against the Knicks in his career. So he's had some success against this team. It was not a factor in Game 7, Harden. It didn't matter. They won the game. They didn't necessarily need him for him not having a great showing. It matters tonight now in this game, in this series, to set the tone. Also, the OG Anunoby point, Stephen A., that you made, he is probable, according to NBA's injury report.
He's playing.
So I would assume he will likely play and feel good. And you know what
He's had 3 weeks. He's had about 3 weeks off. Yeah,
that's right. And like
time.
LeBron always said, you're playing and you're good to go. You better be playing and you better be good to go. All right, coming up here on First Take.
So, honestly, the way that the Cavs handle, or the way Karl Towns is a swing piece. You know that Jalen Brunson is going to have big games. You know that Donovan Mitchell is going to have big games. Like the most important players are established. Those guys are going to have the ball. Those guys are going to be required to score a lot of points. Karl Towns, the guy from January, and Karl Towns, the guy from May, are two different players. And in this last series where the Cavs just beat the Pistons, Evan Mobley, who is one of the best defensive players in the league, he did not have a great year by his standards. He was Defensive Player of the Year last year. I do not think he will be on the all-defensive team this year because the Cavs defensively were not a great team this year. But against the Pistons, Evan Mobley, they put him on Asar Thompson. Evan Mobley stood in the paint and was a rim defender and a great second-line defender. You put him on Karl Towns. Towns is going to lift him up, take the ball. They're going to bring Mobley totally out of the paint, or they're going to force a switch somewhere else. That is going to be, I think, where the rubber meets the road, is the difference that Towns is as a playmaker and as a floor spacer stresses the Cavs in a way that the last two series didn't. The Cavs are the weakest defensive team, and I don't mean to make this insult, but of the 4 teams left, the Cavs are the weakest defensive team. The Knicks are probably the most dynamic offensive team. Oklahoma City, I think, was actually ranked ahead of them, but I think the Knicks are more dynamic than the Thunder are. And so you have the best remaining offense versus sort of the weakest remaining defense. And where that rubs against each other is Towns, Mobley, and how that strategy goes. So that's going to be a really important matchup.
Who's better on defense, Jalen Brunson or Donovan Mitchell in this series?
I think, Jalen, just because he doesn't quite have the size, the Cavs will attack him. But,
so go there for a second, because Philadelphia did not. Atlanta did until they didn't.
Right.
Go deeper on
That's
that.
why I thought was funny about that whole narrative when the Knicks, when they lost a game a month ago, it's the last time they've lost. People were like, "Oh man, Jalen can be attacked on defense."
Why was people?
Yeah, I know. He was attacked on defense since he was 12. Like you attack him on defense and then he busts your ass on offense. This is, and the balance is not equal. They'll attack him on defense. Part of the reason why, the Cavs actually, I'm really hesitant to bring up what happened in the regular season because I think the Cavs-Knicks regular season games are kind of irrelevant. But the Cavs actually defended Brunson somewhat well this season because they're very, very long. They have 3 guys who are very tall. They're going to start Dean Wade against him. He's 6'10". He will be his primary defender, Dean Wade. Brunson was actually 1 of 15 shooting when Dean Wade was his primary defender this year. Actually, Brunson had the lowest field goal percentage of any team in the league this season was against the Cavs. Wow. But I'm going to stop there and pull back because I just don't think those games are relevant. But the Cavs do have, because you run a screen, right? Whoever you screen with him, the Cavs are going to have size to put on him. So probably what will happen is the Knicks will spend some time trying to get James Harden and Donovan Mitchell onto Brunson, and the Cavs will spend some time trying to get Brunson onto. They'll probably have Brunson guard Dean Wade because Dean Wade's they're going to be their weakest offensive player, and the Cavs will spend time trying to get Mitchell on to Brunson, and that'll be the little chess game that happens. But that happens in every series, and it's happened in every series that Jalen's career, and Jalen has won more playoff series than he's lost. So he will be very impactful, I've no doubt.
Wendy, James Harden is easily the most decorated player in the series between the Cavs and the Knicks. Is the playoff perception around Harden fair? And if so, can he change that in this series?
Well, he's never been to a finals. So if he carries the Cavs to a win or two, it does, I think, change the way people look at him. You know, last week he moved into the top 10 all time in playoff scoring. All time.